I'm Lee at Iridium. Hope everyone's doing okay. And I've got Mark with me, Mark Cloer. How you doing, mate?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. And I've got a new guest to the channel, Bryan. How you doing, mate?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, good. So Bryan's joined us for well, this is probably going to be a one-off program, but other people could actually come on and discuss this. We've been talking about this for a while, and we're talking about our fantasy band, if you like. So there's only a few rules we put in place, but sort of I mucked up the rules a little bit. But the rules are that this band, it was possible for them to all play together at some point. Yeah, so you couldn't have someone who died like 1970 or something, and then the other person, you know, was born after or something like that. They all, at some point in time, they had to be able to play, basically. So the other things we made up, we've got to have a drummer, obviously, one bass player. We can have up to 3 guitars, because that's quite popular these days, 3 guitars. Obviously a vocalist, and you could have a keyboardist if you like. So we're going to go round. We're going to go drummer first. And then everyone could decide who's got the best band, can't they? And we've got a name for each band as well. That was probably the hardest thing for me. So we're going to start with Mark first, and he's going to name his drummer for his fantasy band.
Before we get started, I just want to say how cool this is. I've got my oldest friend in the world and one of my newest friends in the world. So
well, let's make sure.
Bryan and I have literally known each other since we were toddlers.
Oh, that's cool.
We used to wrap our cowboy boots in tinfoil, jump around on the bed, blasting Kiss music, while nice. Our parents were probably in another room praying for our souls.
Well, Bryan, it's great to have you on, man. And obviously, you know, you're invited back anytime you want to talk crap with us, like we always do.
I appreciate you having me. I've been watching the videos. I'm a big fan of the program, so
nice, man.
Great to be here.
Cool. Right. Excellent. Well, if your band's better than mine, I might not invite you back, but there you go. So we're going to go Mark first, and he's going to name his drummer.
Okay. First of all, I didn't really necessarily have a requirement that all my members sing, but as it turned out, all but one of my members actually do vocals, at least from time to time. It was a happy accident. But my drummer is going to be Dean Castronova. Now he's obviously most known for Journey and recently Revolution Saints. He was at Bad English back in the day, but a lot of people forget he played with Ozzy. He played with Geezer Butler. He played with Tony McAlpine. So he's done some really heavy stuff through the years. He's a phenomenal drummer and he's a great singer.
Right. So we didn't actually say it's got to be a metal band. We didn't say it's got a melodic rock band. We didn't say any of that. So I mean, I suppose we're going to know now what it's going to be. But
yeah, my band is going to be traditional metal, I guess, is how I would characterize it.
It's a good choice of the first drummer, though, man. I like that. Very good indeed. Excellent. Okay, Bryan, your drummer, mate.
My drummer is Vincent Paul Abbott, Vinnie Paul of Pantera. Damage Plan, and later of Hell Yeah with Chad, and just phenomenal. Known for his black cowboy hat and his Peter Criss inspired Catman facial hair. Just a phenomenal behind the drum set, and taken from us way too soon.
Yeah,
definitely, mate. Very good choice. I love a bit of Pantera myself. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, well, my drummer is Scott Rockenfield, ex-Queensryche. Only recently, obviously, only the last couple of years. But, man, such a clever drummer. I mean, I don't know. He's got one of them drummers. It's unusual, in it. Sometimes you can't tell who a drummer is if you hear him play, but he's definitely got a certain style Do you know what I mean? So mine's a metal band, traditional metal band. So Scott Rockenfield. I don't know what's happening with him, by the way. I missed his drums. Todd Tor is a great drummer. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I really wish Scott was on that last album. Do you know what I mean? Because mainly I wanted it to be a proper band. I'm glad they got a drummer now, Queensryche. But Scott Rockenfield is my drummer. There you go.
I laughed because I was torn between Dean and Scott.
Yeah.
I almost picked Scott, but I mainly chose Dean because he is a great singer as well as a great drummer. That's pretty cool because I almost picked Rockenfield myself.
Cool, man. That's cool. Right. Okay. So bass player, Mark.
My bass player is going to be Jeff Pilson.
Yeah, it's a good choice, man.
Obviously most known for Dawkins and recently Foreigner, but also had stints in Dio, Michael Schenker Group. And again, he's not really known for his vocals, but he's a great singer as well.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
He did the vocals on the Lynch Pilson album. He did the vocals on his War and Peace project. Just a well-rounded musician. His bass playing, people don't give him as much credit as he deserves as a bass player. But that recent live Dawkins album they did in Japan, the bass on that was turned up pretty high. And man, he really drove those songs with his bass.
Oh, he's good, man. It's a brilliant choice. It's a brilliant choice. I'm a bit jealous of that one, actually. Anyway, right. Brian, that's you, mate, bass player.
I had two choices. There was a 1A and there was a 1B. There was no clear number 2. But since I chose just to do a metal band, I went with Steve Harris of Iron Maiden. One of the most influential bassists in the world. The galloping bass lines he has, his songwriting ability, there was no other I could put in his place. But my 1B was the master of the bass himself, Les Claypool. And he will have to go in another band. So my choice for this is Steve Harris.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, that choice is absolutely brilliant because I got the same one. Steve Harris. Come on, Steve Harris, man.
I kind of predicted that.
For both of us or for him?
Oh, man, Steve Harris. I had to go with Steve Harris, man. I mean, like you said, songwriting. Obviously, he's not a singer. I don't think he's ever been. I think he might have sang in one song or something, but regretted that. But oh man, like you said, he's got that gallop, isn't he? Which really will fit into my band. I'm thinking this is a galloping band. This one, do you know, without a doubt. Okay, well, brilliant choice by us there, Brian.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we could either go. I mean, I haven't got a keyboardist. Have you got keyboards?
No.
Well, that's sorted that one out. That's good then. I like that. I've got 3 guitars. How many you guys got?
I've got 3.
I've got 3.
Well, we had to, didn't we? If you can have 3, you're going to have 3. That's brilliant. Right, Mark.
Yeah,
Guitar 1.
Iron Maiden kind of made having 3 guitars
acceptable.
Valid. Acceptable. Anyway, my first one is going to be a rhythm guitarist, and this probably won't be a surprise to anybody that's watched any of our past videos, but it's got to be John Schaefer from Ice Earth, Demons and Wizards, Sons of Liberty. He is just the most amazing rhythm player I've ever seen or heard. He may have to tone it down a little bit in this band because it's not quite as brutal as Iced Earth or some of the stuff he's used to. But
and he can sing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did some vocals in Iced Earth. He did the vocals on the Sons of Liberty. Yeah, so he's also a vocalist. So yeah,
Yeah, man, it's a great choice.
So when he gets out of jail, I've got a place for him.
Brilliant. Okay. All right, Brian, you're up.
My guitarist, I chose George Lynch of Dokken Lynch Mob. I found out, back in '79, he auditioned for Ozzy, but Randy Rhoads got the job instead. He played with him for a little while, but he finally, Ozzy decided to go with Randy Rhoads. But George Lynch is just on his own. He's out there by himself. He's one of the greats, and that's why I chose him.
That's a good choice, man. Some of these players we're talking about as well, like George Lynch especially, I mean, if he was put into a thrashy band or a real hard band, he could probably do that anyway, as easy as anything. Okay. Well, this won't be no surprise to Mark, because I've actually, when I heard you mention, we talked about this a long time ago about putting a fantasy band together, and you said that if one person would be in it, it'd be this person. And I agree. John Schaefer is just one brilliant guitarist and songwriter. Yeah. So, I mean, I've got John Schaefer and Steve Harris writing songs together so far. What's that all about? It's brilliant, isn't it? So, John Schaefer for me as well, mate. Just outstanding rhythm guitarist. I think he can play a bit of lead as well, obviously, but he won't need to with my 3 guitars. So, he'll be all right. Okay, well, that's excellent. So, really like guitar number 2 now. Mark.
Yeah, all 3 of my guitarists are vastly different in style. I don't know if they could actually coexist in a band or not, but this is my fantasy band. So I've got this another one won't be a shock. I've got to pick Tony Iommi, the Godfather himself. He creates the most bone-crunching riffs, and it all came from Black Sabbath. I've mentioned before that first Black Sabbath album was the birth of what we know as heavy metal, and that sound is all down to Tony Iommi. No disrespect or taking anything away from the other members of the band, but Tony Iommi is Black Sabbath as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And he's just that dark, plotting style of his. I could not put him in my band. Yeah,
it was no surprise, man. I thought you might have Tony Iommi, but they'd have to work around him, man. You know what I mean? They would, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? It'll be his band for sure, this one. Okay, Brian.
Number 2, I chose Zakk Wylde of Ozzy Osbourne and then Black Label Society. Another shredder on the guitar and vocalist. Just outstanding, wonderful live show. Gets out there, gets it done.
Yeah, man, good choice. That's a heavy, but he would fit well with Vinnie Paul as well, without a doubt. Oh yeah, man, good one. Okay, so my second guitarist is, I've gone for a band. The drummer was in the same band. He's not in Queensryche either, but it's Chris DeGarmo.
Okay.
Man, I think that, I love Queensryche now. I think they're just outstanding, but I think he's the last link to make them even better. I think he's amazing. I wish he'd come back, but I don't think he ever will. But again, I think they missed something when he went. Do you know what I mean? What a brilliant, brilliant guitarist. Chris DeGarmo's my second guitarist. Okay.
Yeah, it was obvious that he was a huge part of that chemistry early on, because when he left,
I mean, I'm not sure when he left. I'm not sure what stage. I think he put up with what the shit that was going on for a while, but I don't know when he actually left. But I don't know. He's playing on those classic 4 albums. The Warning up to Empire was just outstanding, Yeah. Michael Wilton's no slouch either. He's brilliant, but I think Chris DeGarmo is just fantastic. Okay, we're on to our last guitarist, to Mark.
Okay. I thought about putting an actual shredder in here, and if I had done that, I would have picked the Kira Takasaki. But then I had to think, I just don't think that would fit Akira Takasaki and Tony Iommi. I mean, they're two of my all-time favorites, but just so different in styles that I decided to go with more of a melodic, classic type player, and I picked Buck Dharma from Blue Oyster Cult. Amazing guitarist who doesn't get near the props he deserves. He can shred when he wants to, but he's one of the most melodic players I've ever heard, and it's just so effortless with him. It just seems like he sleeps with his guitar. He just there's no effort involved at all in his playing, and I just think that would be a cool triple threat of guitars: John Schaefer, Tony Iommi, Buck Dharma.
Good one, mate. Okay, your last guitarist then, Brian.
My last guitarist just happens to be the brother of Vinnie Paul, Daryl Lance Abbott, better known as Dimebag Daryl. Just phenomenal on stage presence. In the studio and on stage, you hardly hear any difference in the way that he's playing. And just phenomenal and one of my all-time favorites.
Man, I don't think I've ever heard a guitar sound like as good as on Far Beyond Driven, that album. Man, that guitar sound is just mental. Like the deepness he gets, that, oh, brilliant. Good choice though, mate. Right, my last choice, I found this hard. I found this really hard because I was probably thinking too much, because I wanted to go for someone really melodic. I wanted to go actually for Ronnie Letecro of TNT. But I thought there's no way he's going to fit in with this band. You know what I mean? I think I overthought it probably. So I was thinking, I want someone really melodic, but that can play the heavy stuff. And he's a brilliant songwriter. And I know it might sound like I'm creeping a bit. I went for Michael Sweet. So there you go.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you've got Chris DeGarmo, Michael Sweet, John Schaefer, and Steve Harris writing. I mean, it can't go wrong, can it?
No.
It just can't. Yeah, and
Michael Sweet was also one of mine because he had done some projects with George Lynch in the past that were outstanding. So I just had to, I went with Dime over Michael Sweet just by a hair.
And you just know that with those galloping riffs, he wouldn't have a problem with that because he does it himself anyway, you know. Underrated guitarist as well, you know. I could have chose Os Fox, but then I was thinking more along the lines of the songwriting because I'm overthinking it again, you know. So I think Michael Sweet's given a bit of a, you know, he's as a guitarist, he's quite underrated and he's a brilliant songwriter as well. And then backing vocals, man. Look at them backing vocals I've got.
For sure.
Okay, right. This is going to be interesting. Mark, vocalist.
Yeah, I meant to say at the beginning of this, if I truly had a magic wand and could create any fantasy band, I would honestly take the easy way out and I would just make a new version of the Tony Martin era Black Sabbath. But I had a self-imposed rule on my band. I didn't want any members that had played together before. Just my way of thinking about it. So I had to have Tony Iommi in there, so that ruled out Tony Martin. So my vocalist has actually in the past mentioned that he always wanted to work with Tony Iommi. And when I heard him say that, I thought, man, that would be an incredible collaboration. And so my pick is Doogie White, most known from Rainbow, but he's been in multiple projects after that, Cornerstone. He was in Tank for a while.
Great voice, man.
Have
Great
a lot
voice.
of projects, but he's right there with Tony Martin. When I first heard him, he was one of those guys. I'm like, my God, where's he been all my life? Yeah. Just a fabulous voice. Could cover any kind of material. Yeah. And I just think that would be an amazing, if nothing else, him and Tony Iommi together would be amazing. But the rest of this cast of characters, I mean, I don't know how it could lose.
That's a great choice. He's a brilliant singer, man. Another underrated singer, without a doubt. Okay. We're going back to Brian's full-on metal band. These are proper metal, this band. Man, it's brilliant. Okay,
well,
who's your vocalist, mate?
Well, I have ruled out some people like Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford, who are just phenomenal at what they do in their craft. And I went with Jeff Tate from Queensrÿche. I just think he would fit in this because his range is so great and he can hit the highs and the lows. And I believe he would do well with all the other ones in the band.
I mean, I suppose when we're thinking about this band, we're thinking about these guys as well at their peak, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Jeff Tate was just untouchable, wasn't he? He's just absolutely outstanding. I mean, he's still good now. He's surprisingly good now. But obviously those heights he used to make, not hardly anyone can make them anymore. But he's an amazing, he's right up there with my favourite singers of all time, without a doubt. Jeff Tate, absolutely amazing vocalist. Well, what do you reckon I'm going to go for on the vocals? I'm going to go
down to two. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of the two that I've got in my head.
Yeah, I'll go for Ronnie James Dio on vocals.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, he's got that power where he could deal with all that power behind him. Do you know what I mean? Without a doubt. So, I mean, there was a doubt. I got a bit confused. It's probably me, making the rules up as I go along. But after I sort of found, Mark was sort of saying, I think we said we was not going to have anyone who passed away. It was going to be now. You could have this band now. But I twisted his arm because I had to have Ronnie James Dio in it. So, but I think if I had to go for someone now, there's lots of good choices out there as well now. Do you know what I mean? You got Jean Londe.
That's who I thought you'd pick.
Yeah, I could go for him. Todd Latour, even if it was now, because I'd rather have Todd in a band than I would Jeff Tate right now. But back then, Jeff Tate at his peak, I would have had him. Do you know what I mean? He was just amazing. I would have had Midnight, but he's out of Queens and Glory, but he's passed as well. What an amazing vocalist he was, So there is plenty about now. That Dino Chalusic, isn't he? He's amazing. That guy from Animal Drive. I don't know if you've heard him. Just like he can hit any height you can think of. But the cool thing is we're not the first ones to discuss this. I don't know if you've seen the interviews I did with Joel Hoekstra and Tony Harnell. They've both named their fantasy bands. But I with them, they couldn't choose anyone that had passed away because I wanted to imagine it. I thought if they ever get these bands together, that was down to me. That's what I was thinking. But that's my weird way of thinking. But I thought it might make people watching the program imagine that it could actually happen. It's quite exciting, isn't it? But I mean, I've even got, because I went from Dio, I don't know about you, that sort of, because I knew Dio was first, it sort of sorted out my whole band. Because, that's why I couldn't have, like I said, Ronnie Latecro in there. And I could actually probably do a melodic hard rock band and make it a brilliant band. And perhaps we should do that as well. You know what I mean? A different style, maybe. This is metal, these three bands, really, aren't they? So maybe we should do an AOR band, melodic hard rock band. I don't know. But I could quickly run through your choices. So Mark's got Dean Castronova on drums, Jeff Pilson on bass, John Schaefer on guitar 1, Tony Iommi on the guitar 2, and what's his name? Always the cult guy,
Buck Garman.
Buck Garman, sorry. Yeah, he's your third guitarist, and Doogie White on vocals. Brian, Vinnie Paul on drums, Steve Harris on bass. God, sounds good, this, doesn't it? George Lynch on guitar, Zach Wilde on guitar, Dimebag Darrell on guitar, Jeff Tate on the vocals. I'm a bit jealous. I'm a bit jealous of some of that, I tell you. I've got Scott Rockenfield on drums, Steve Harris on bass, John Schaefer on guitar, Chris DeGarmo on guitar, Michael Sweet on guitar, Ronnie James Dio on vocals. They're pretty good bands though, aren't they? All of them. They're pretty amazing bands. So I just want everyone to, under the comments, who do you think's got the best band? I want you to let us know and name your band as well. Go with the same rules that we are going with. It could have happened at some point in time. That's great. Did you enjoy that, guys?
You want to give your band name?
Oh, shit, yeah. The band name, right? We go round the same, and the reasoning why. If there's a reason why as well, I want to know. So, how you came to the conclusion? Go on then, Mark.
Well, as I told both of y'all, I had a name in mind that just came out of my. I thought it was original name to me, and that was originally what I was going to go with. And I Googled it, and sure as shit, there was a band with that name.
A metal band as well.
Yeah, it was. And I came up with, I bet you 10 different names, that combinations of, cool words that I thought would be a good band name. And without fail, every single one of them, there's a band somewhere in the world with that name. Might not necessarily be a metal band, but it just blew my mind. And I had just about given up on it. Yesterday, I just happened to be listening to Children of the Sea. And as this lyric came out, I said, that's it. So my band name is Demon Dance.
Oh, yeah.
So I freely admit I stole a lyric from a Sabbath song, but I couldn't find any reference to a band with that name. So
and I'm surprised. It's a good name, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it just the lights went on when I heard it.
It's a good choice, man. It's a very good Demon Dance from Mark. Very fitting, very fitting. Okay, Brian.
I don't know if it's fitting or not, but I kind of went off the antics of Dime and Vinnie Paul coming up. They were kind of wild and like to get going. I came up with Psycho Dust.
Psycho Dust.
Psycho Dust.
Nice.
And I couldn't find any. I saw a band named Dust, and a band named
good.
Psycho, but not Psycho Dust.
That's a good choice, man. So, I first of all was doing the Googling the best band names, trying to get, cheat like that. Like, because there's these, you can go on Google and just say, names for metal bands, but they weren't good enough. They just weren't good enough. So, I was like starting to think, right, looking at lyrics, just like you did with Children of the Sea. So I started thinking, right, what's a good Dio song, and maybe I could there's already bands out there, and Last in Line are out there, all them bands are out there. So I took one word from a Dio song, which could be any song as well. So I took it from Sacred Heart, and actually the word sacred, I thought that's quite cool. And then, because John Schaefer's in the band, I called it Sacred Earth.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah? Quite cool, isn't it? I had a quick look if there was a band on YouTube. I put Sacred Earth band. There was some sort of weird sort of band, but they weren't a metal band or anything. I don't think they were well known or anything. And I mean, that Sunbomb, there's a band called Sunbomb, isn't there? So I mean, well, there you go. I suppose, but Sacred Earth is the one I came out with. I thought it'd be cool to have, the two band names, or a word from one and the band name from the other. Sacred Earth. That's mine. Cool. I was looking along the lines of rainbows and all sorts because of Ronnie, but that's what I came up with, Sacred Earth. So what I'm also going to do, apart from on here, I'm going to put this as a poll on Facebook, and I'm going to let people vote on the best band, not the best name. I'll put the name of the band there, but the band, who's the best band out of, I reckon it'd be close. I'm going to put it up there. I'll leave it there for a few weeks and see what everyone votes on. And I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And if you're not on Facebook, Mark, if you win, I'll let you know I won anyway, so it won't matter.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know on that.
Yeah, definitely. All right then, guys. Well, thanks for joining me, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Definitely going to come on again, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Excellent. I can't wait, man. And thanks to Mark, as always, for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you again. Been fun.
Yeah.
Yes, been awesome. Thank you.
Cheers, then. And remember, everyone, put your comments below, your fantasy band maybe, or who's got the best band out of us. Please vote me. Thank you very much. See you later.